Today, we're going to be looking at one of my favorite creators on the platform, and we're going to take a look and dive into his storytelling. That's Magnus Midtbø. I think that's how you say his name. Magnus is someone in the fitness space. He's a professional climber, if I'm not mistaken, and his content is phenomenal. Really good storytelling. So, we're going to get right into it.
there. The mission Today I joined some of the most highly trained Marines out there. The mission is to pass the United States Marine Corps physical fitness test. In this test, Marines are scored from 0 to 300 points based on how well they perform, with a minimum of 135 points needed to qualify. It's an important test to make sure that they stay in peak physical shape and are ready.
Okay, I'm going to pause here for copyright purposes, but a couple of things we should consider that have already happened here, and they've happened behind the scenes as well. The editor for this content has already received, reviewed, and decided what the beginning and the end of this video is going to be before any of us have clicked play. So all of the decisions we're seeing were already made by him to be the best possible way to tell this story from his perspective or her perspective. So we're gonna go through the edit methodically because that's what editors do. It's a methodical practice. And we're gonna look at the emotion, the dialogue, the pacing, and the shot sequencing to see why he made the decisions, or she, why the editor made the decisions they did to put the story together in this type of way. So let's go back to the top, and we're gonna now look at the intro with this point of view.
Today I joined some of the most highly trained Marines out there. The mission is to pass the United States Marine Corps physical fitness test. In this test, Marines are scored from 0 to 300 points based on how well they
Okay, what I like about Magnus's editing is that it's really story focused. It's rare for me to come across this channel and there's a lot of VFX and a lot of graphics. They do nice visuals, but it's usually clean and adapted to the video like this. And just because it's the most important part of the video, we're going to talk about the opening for a little.
Today I joined some of the most highly trained Marines out there. The mission is to pass the United States Marine Corps physical fitness test.
They put this shot in the combination because they're trying to portray some drama. At the beginning, you have to give people a reason to watch. Why should I continue watching? You pay off the click initially, which is what he did at the very first shot, and then he moved on. And now he's giving them another reason to keep watching because, well, it's difficult, and I believe the editor is trying to figure out to entice curiosity in the audience for us to wonder, like, well, can he do it? So we're seeing Magnus like sprawled out on the ground, and psychologically, the idea is that, well, a U.S. Marine is someone in peak physical form, so it's going to be really challenging to pass a test like this. Can Magnus actually pass that test? And that's the question he's putting into our head at the start of this. So once again, that's a good job to open with that particular thing. It's standard practice across YouTube, but you have to give credit where it's due, and it was done correctly. Um, One thing my personal perspective on this is that the opening line in the dialogue, it says that
Trained Marines out there. The mission is to pass the Today I joined some of the most highly trained Marines out there.
he's going to join some of the most highly trained Marines out there. And no offense to these guys, they're obviously in phenomenal shape. They seem so young though that my mind is saying like these are some of the most highly trained Marines out there, because like they seem very young. My image of like a really highly trained Marine is kind of like Jocko Willink, if you know what I mean. Like it's a brute. It's a guy that's probably mid 30s or early 30s and has just like insane muscle and life experience. And that's the idea I have of like a super highly trained. So I feel, once again, no offense to these guys, they're in definitely better shape than I am. And I guess you work with what you have. But could there have been another way to portray that? Maybe with them doing an exercise at the start, that might have been a way to kind of sell it a bit more, them doing something challenging. But I understand you have to work with what you're given. So let's keep moving on throughout the video.
The mission is to pass the United States Marine Corps physical fitness test. In this test, Marines are scored from 0 to 300 points based on how well they perform, with a minimum of 135 points needed to qualify. It's an important test.
So the graphic they did 0 to 300, that was really good. And something they do well is they blend it to the environment. You know, it's not a random, it's not Comic Sans, right? The graphic aligns with what we're watching.
Based on how well they perform, with a minimum of 100.
This shot I'm on the fence about because we're building curiosity, but he's smiling in the shot. While this looks more like a pleasant stroll than, you know, struggling doing one of the most difficult physical challenges that a person could possibly do. So just that little moment in the shot there kind of took me out of it for a bit because my assumption is now, oh, he's gonna do it. But I don't think as a viewer I should have that assumption.
35 points needed to qualify. It's an important test to make sure that they stay in peak physical shape and are ready for combat at any moment. All right, so I'm here with Staff Sergeant Amanfo, and today...
See, this looks like a super highly trained Marine. This guy is a tank. So yeah, this is the idea that I had, but I get it. You work with what you're given. I'm not, you know, I'm not criticizing the editor's choice to use what they use, but this is the idea I have of like a super highly trained Marine.
I'm going to try the PFT, the physical fitness test. This sounds pretty hard. There's pull-ups, plank, and a 3-mile
Nice
run,
music
right?
selection.
We're out in...
Oh, that's a very acute, good bit of storytelling I just noticed here. Notice that as Magnus goes into the challenges that they're going to do, they change the color grading of the footage.
Fitness test. This sounds pretty hard. There's...
Okay, he sets it up. This sounds pretty hard.
pull-ups, plank,
and something about this particular color tone, the kind of gray, dull, desaturated color, it makes us experience like difficulty. You know, the emotional experience of this being in bright color would seem like a bright day is a happy mood, whereas like a dull, dark gray sky is a bit of heaviness, and that heaviness is transferred onto him doing these exercises. So the color is putting the story and the emotional experience onto him, which makes us assume that, well, oh, this is super difficult. And it's
3-mile run, right? Yes.
It's a great setup. Once again, you know, great setup.
And we're out in the desert on Camp Pendleton, and I'm going to do it with these
Love that
guys
graphic.
who are extremely fit. I talked to them a little bit earlier, and most of them can do 30 pull-ups, and they have some amazing running times. So what do you think?
I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
This Marine is going to be challenged.
Yeah, you guys are doing it more like support, I guess, right? Yeah, that's good. All right.
They set a nice friendly tone. I like it. Magnus made sure to get the breath in to, you know, set the stakes once again, and we're gonna get further into his experience. Do it.
When you hear begin, you're going to pull yourself up, making sure your chin is above the bar. And
Oh, that was fantastic. I want to show you guys just what I noticed here was phenomenal from the editor in my perspective. So I'll save my critique of it after, but this particular moment was super good. Walter Murch, the one of the most famous editors of all time, he wrote the book uh, In the Blink of an Eye. That's the name of the book. He did a master class where he talked about how he thinks about transitioning in shot selections, which is one of the more difficult things to do. So, according to Walter Murch's philosophy of editing, which is basically regarded as the Bible for editors, the this is where you start, right? If you're an editor, you start with that book. And his philosophy goes emotion first, followed by story, followed by the rhythm of the edit, and then we go into the minor things like tracing the eye, etc. Shot selection is something that comes up throughout all of them, including the emotion. Your shot selection is very, very important. It's second only to the dialogue. So in thinking about a shot selection, according to Walter Murch, it's a like think of two rays. I'm going to use my hands here to show because I don't have anything else. But you're going to think of one shot is two lines going outward from each other. And at a given point, you cut. And then a new two lines are coming out of each other. So shot B is born of shot A, meaning the time you select to cut is the point where a new shot is evolving out of the old shot. So they're interlinked in that way. And look at this little series here where we can see clearly how each shot was born out of the other. We start with this kind of narrowed down, which is tension building. It's a tension building shot as well, because it's like if we're in the on the ground looking up in like a kind of hiding position. So this is a very good tension building shot to start. It's revealed and the bar is born of that moment. And we go into this graphic, which I love. Again, matched to the environment. Very good graphic.
When you
Again,
hear begin, you're gonna
release.
pull yourself.
And we go into the instruction. So that little segment there was phenomenal. It was a moment for me. I had a moment. Very good job, guys, on that selection. And if you notice, the music itself as well is also a tension building type of music. Dun, 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 dun.
When you hear begin,
When you get cellos, violins, these types of instruments playing on a minor note, especially, it's tension building a lot of the time. So the music choice you make is it's almost as important as well. I don't even know almost because as far as the hierarchy goes, emotion is first, and music dictates the emotions to a large point. You know, so just always really spend time to figure out what emotion am I trying to convey here. So now we're in the pull-up section. Let's just keep running.
you're gonna pull yourself up, making sure your chin is above the bar, and you're gonna come all the way down, making sure you're fully locked out. And then you're gonna repeat over and over again till you get your max reps. What you're not gonna do, you're not gonna skip, you're not gonna bicycle, and then you're gonna always make sure your hands is facing the same side. So if you need to switch, you can switch,
Okay.
and then you're gonna continue.
You can switch mid.
You can switch mid as long
Okay.
as you don't come on the ground. You can switch and you can continue your pull-ups.
Okay, so that little segment we just witnessed there, that's the, if we look at the story as an arc, because all narratives have an arc, and every arc of a narrative has an arc. What that means is that we have act one, act two, act three, beginning, middle, end. But in the beginning, there is a beginning, middle, and end. And in the middle, there is a beginning, middle, and end. And at the end, there is a beginning, middle, and end. We're at the beginning of what is considered the rising action in a story. The rising action is where we lead up to the climax, to the point where it's like, oh, this is the most difficult part of the story or the biggest problem in the story. And the rising actions challenge is keeping keeping the information as concise as possible whilst moving the story forward and increasing the difficulty as it goes. The editor chose to start this sequence just immediately from, okay, the instruction, and then we're going to go direct into the rising action of the rising action, which is, these um rules that you're allowed to do or you're not allowed to do. And that's a great
You're not gonna
choice.
bicycle, and then you're gonna always make sure.
This this shot here is really important because this shot here is the story. The small moments are the story unfolding. This shot here is Magnus showing us like, this looks kind of difficult. Are you getting this? Are you seeing this? Can you believe it? And for that moment, especially as the shot is framed around him centrally, and it's a beautiful shot, by the way, just look at the leading lines in the background. Just stylistically, this is a great cinematographer, right? Or the positioning he chose. And in in showing us this particular shot, we're getting Magnus's emotion, which is actually the thing driving the story forward. Because whilst the title of the video is Can I Pass the US Marine Test? The story of the video is what is Magnus's experience of this test? And this shot is a really great highlighting moment of the story. So phenomenal work, guys.
Sure your hands is facing the same side. So if you need to switch, you can switch,
Okay.
and then you're gonna continue.
You can switch mid.
You can switch mid as long
Okay.
as you don't come on the ground. You can switch and you can continue your pull-ups.
Do you guys have like a pull-up record in the
In the
Marine
Marine Corps?
76 pull-ups
For Marine.
for Marines.
76?
No way.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
in 2002.
76 pull-ups is the record. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was a nice moment. Magnus opened the loop there in my mind, at least. And if it's open in mine, it's open in all the audiences, which is, can he beat the record? Like is he going to try to beat the record? That small question there just opened a whole new bunch of thoughts in my mind. So kudos to him, for asking that question. The pacing of this section is really quite good for my aesthetic. Like the audiences all have different preferences for pacing, because younger kids, they obviously want faster cuts, faster video. More mature audiences, they would prefer to let the story develop a bit, or maybe let the story develop isn't the right word, but they tend to not follow along with the consistent stimulation, in your face stimulation, as much as the kids do. And here we're allowing the story to build up and release tension and flow through naturally. So this is very enjoyable so far.
And then you're gonna continue.
You can switch mid.
You can switch mid as long
Okay.
as you don't come on the ground. You can switch and you can continue your pull-ups.
Do you guys have like a pull-up record in the
In the
Marine
Marine Corps?
76 pull-ups
For Marine.
for Marines.
76?
No way.
Yeah, in 2002.
76 pull-ups is the record.
That no way being left in, because I'm sure he could have isolated the voice and cut the voice out. But leaving that no way in is really, really good, because it raises the stakes of that moment. And that's where the dialogue, those little moments, you want to pay really close attention to the dialogue, or the sync, as some people call it, depending on where you're from, and use that to make the story. So that in itself is contributing to the story, moving it forward, because this high score is so high, it's difficult. Is Magnus going to try to make it?
Oh my God.
Hell yeah. Ready? Mount the bar. Begin.
Why is there a mailbox, bro? I'm not sure how this is intertwined. Like my idea, my hunch is that they didn't want to be repetitive and show the bar again, or you know but this feels, sorry, this seems relevant, because whether, like, I don't know what this is, I have no idea what this is, but it seems relevant to the idea of the Marine Corps and prestige, and we're about to do a prestigious historical test, so this psychologically makes sense to me.
Ready? Mount the bar.
I think this was just the result of not having enough coverage, potentially, or maybe I don't understand the significance of it right now, and it comes back later on, which could be something that happens, and I could just, be jumping the gun here. But at this moment, as they're about to do the test, we're in the rising action of the pull-up section, right? We're not at the climax of the pull-up section, which is going to happen a bit later on. I would like to have some kind of tension building happening in the shot selection here. Like seeing their hands go onto the bar, seeing them clasping the bar, and then we get into it. Like, that's gonna continue to build the tension for me, from my perspective.
Pull-ups
For Marine.
for Marines.
76?
No way.
Yeah, in 2002.
76 pull-ups is the record. Oh my God.
Hell yeah. Ready? Mount the bar. Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's kind of like an endurance test, because you can rest on the bar.
17.
All right, so what is the score?
Okay, the pacing increased a bit there as well. I enjoyed that section. I think the music selection was phenomenal. I think the music was it was spot on for like the emotion they would have been trying to communicate, like a challenge is occurring. I enjoyed it a lot. Something that this isn't a criticism of their video whatsoever. This is something tangential to that. Walter Murch, who is the guy I mentioned a bit earlier, he has the philosophy that all shots build tension and cuts relieve the tension. So choosing when to cut is a matter of when are you choosing to release the tension, because as we mentioned before, right? Everything has a beginning, middle, and end, including each individual shot. There is rising action, there is climax, and then there is fall in every single shot. So leaving a lingering shot with a mild Ken Burns zoom is one of the ways that people build tension frequently on YouTube. And I think in action based shots where there is a lot of things happening, it's already moving very quickly. So having frequent cuts on action based content actually increases the pacing a lot faster than fast cuts on slower moving content, you know, and that could cause disorientation. It could also be exactly what the audience is looking for, you know. So this isn't about their video. This is just, I think it's an important tidbit that you should know that action itself is increasing the rhythm of the video.
Dad, 28. Hill,
18.
18.
Yep.
21. Mount the bar, come to complete that hang.
Okay.
Begin. 1, 2.
Okay, we're now at the climaxing moment. We're getting rising tension and we're going closer to the climax slash conflict. You notice that is indicated by the change in the sound. And let's keep it going.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Yes.
10, 11.
I stopped and applauded there because I love the confidence of the editor to just let that shot hang and build that tension up for us while we're watching Magnus bang out these pull-ups here. I really like that because I get to experience that tension in my body. Phenomenal work.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21,
Nice shot.
22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27.
Okay, again, they're letting the tension build as he's slowing down. I think the shots themselves are slowing as well, if I'm not mistaken, so that we get to experience that tiredness, that fatigue along with him. So I'm just gonna count.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
The footage has gotten a bit shaky, which is good. Shakiness tends to show authenticity, and shakiness also tends to bring a lot of realism and struggle into footage. You know, like there used to be a time where cell phone footage would be rampant on the internet because that's what was going viral, and it always be shaky footage of something crazy happening in a classroom or out on the streets or at a bus stop. And it's kind of reminiscent of that, where there is like this unease associated with shaky footage.
24, 25, 26, 27.
Yeah, they were not slowing down the shots along with his fatigue. I was mistaken about that, but it's still they're lingering on these shots, which are very good on these clips.
Okay.
Wow. Wow.
30.
Yeah, nice, nice.
We should have done 2 more. It was good that you guys started because I knew where to aim, you know.
That was good. That was good. The 5 minutes.
Nice. So we got the climax of him banging out how much can he actually do? 30. And I love that they just moved on to the next thing right away. We got the payoff and now we're on to the next thing to keep the momentum going. A video like this is really difficult to do because there isn't actually a lot really happening. It's literally just a dude doing pull-ups on a bar and they're trying to add tension to it. So I think it was very well done.
30.
Okay. We should have done.
The 5 minutes starts now.
Basic.
Okay, and now we're on to exercise 2, which is the rising action is continuing. We're in Act 2, and we're rising the action as we lead toward a climax.
So basic
Love
plank
this
form
graphic.
for the Marine Corps PFT is just as follows. Your body must stay in a straight line. No part of your body besides your toes. Your forearms will touch the deck at any time, but never can your hands touch each other or fingers interlock.
I don't think I've ever done a max plank before, so I have no idea how this is gonna feel.
Ready?
It's really interesting. I really like that the editor chose to open this section with the information because it's just a really clear way to make sure that us, the audience, are aware of what's happening and how to follow along.
Basic plank form.
And as they describe what a plank is and the plank form and these types of things, for the viewers that don't actually know what it is, or people that heard the name but they're not sure how to tell if it's being done correctly, they give this information to us. And then we get Magnus's reaction.
Plank before, so I have no idea how this is gonna feel.
Ready?
Because we could have opened with this and it would have been a totally different thing. But the audience being able to follow along is of the utmost importance. And so the editor decided to open with, these are the rules of a plank. And I'm sure that's why he did these are the rules of a pull-up as well, because we don't want to skip information and leave gaps in understanding. Because at some point the audience just checks out. They're like, well, what am I looking at here? I don't even know. So great selection of those because the emotion is packed in this shot. But rather than open with the emotion, we open with the information that will amplify the emotion later on. So very well done.
Go.
The grass is also a little bit wet, makes it slippery. I already have a shiver.
Yeah, I think that they're probably adding that in post, like that phrase.
The grass is also a little.
Because his mouth isn't moving here, right? But I think they added that in post just to add a bit of tension because, again, this type of video is really difficult to make dramatic because it's really just 4 guys laying on the grass doing planks, right?
Bit wet, makes it slippery. I already have a shiver. It's like a slight shiver in my body.
How's you guys' work week?
Oh, it's pretty good, brother. You know,
Time is going
1
so
minute.
slow. I really feel it in my core.
I would say like around 2 minutes. That's when you're gonna start feeling the burn.
Oh
If
man.
you just clear your mind, stay out the black.
Yeah.
use those
Minute
fundamentals,
15.
You're gonna get the 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
What do you do when you control your breathing? Like, do you breathe with your nose, your mouth, or?
Yeah, in through the nose, out through.
I like that they chose to use the dialogue here and have these conversations as a way to build the tension. Because Magnus is now talking from a perspective of like, I don't really know how I'm going to hold out to do this. How am I going to handle it? And these guys are kind of developing the story with him. So they're giving him the instruction. They're telling him like, hey, stay out of the black. Hey, you need to build and breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. And you're gonna be able to make it to 345, which is another open loop that just happened there.
Oh
If
man.
you just clear your mind, stay out the black.
Yeah.
use those
Minute
fundamentals.
15.
Through the nose, out through the
Minute
mouth.
30.
Yep.
I'm trying to spot an ant that I can focus on. You not feel it at all?
Oh no, I'm chilling.
Oh Jesus.
How you guys doing?
I'm good.
Easy.
Oh, you guys are so good at this.
I want to play rock, paper, scissors.
2 minutes, 45 seconds. 3 minutes.
Just keep adding that tension, and they have that piano droning on in the back, like, oh, he's suffering right now, you know? Very, very good so far. I'm enjoying it.
Hips up. Hips up, Hale. Hips up. There you go.
I mean, it's interesting because seeing these guys all do it so easily doesn't actually make me think that they're extremely hard. It more makes me think like, is it true, Magnus? Are you really having this level of difficulty? Or are you like adding, oh, nope, this is real. All right. We got to the face and it's like, nope, this is real. He is really enduring this. I know I can't do a 3 minute blank. Like, I'm not even gonna I'm not even gonna bother to pretend like I can. But yeah, building the tension in a scene like this is really difficult where there isn't a lot of action happening. So the timer itself is one of the key tension builders. The music in the background is a key tension builder. The color grading, desaturating slightly is a builder, and then also having these close up of his face and his emotional expressions is how you can craft the emotional experience for the audience. And then you add the dialogue. Well, the dialogue comes first, and then you add these things to just fill it out so we can have a really interesting momentum building situation, you know? But I wonder if it was possible at all to start with the plank first and then go to the pull ups. But I guess it's probably the ease with which he did the pull ups that made it not so relevant for the rising action. You know, that made it not be best suited for pre-climax rising action. So I mean, I won't know, but I really enjoyed this video, what I've seen so far. Magnus, if you're looking for another editor, hit up your boy. I'm a huge fan of your stuff. I really love what the editors do there as well. I'd love to work with you guys if you are looking for someone. And yeah, I'm gonna log out for today. But every single day between Monday to Saturday at midnight 30, 12:30 a.m. Eastern time or 2:30 p.m. AEST, we're doing live breakdowns of some of the best creators on YouTube. So be sure to lock in with your boy. All right, guys, all the best.